This is the main point. Doge is getting a lot of credit from people as I hear it all the time on the internet. Why wouldn't you want to go after corruption, right? This is specifically a breakdown of why he's not going after corruption, why he is actually doing corruption by doing what he's doing. And not just from a standpoint of it's unconstitutional. I mean, he is literally going after institutions that are going to benefit him directly.
We already know a lot about his conflicts of interest. You can see a little bit of what that entails here. You can see Transportation Department is investigating him, the Justice Department, the Labor Department, the Department of the Interior, Department of Agriculture, National Labor Relations Board, and on and on. And as we evaluate what he's been up to and what particular agencies and boards he has taken aim at, we can really start to see a pattern of how all of these things intersect with his own personal financial interests, and really more importantly, and to the point, his interest in consolidating power. So one of the most obvious examples is the CFPB, that's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
All right, people, do you guys you know about the CFPB, right? It is the entity that was started by Elizabeth Warren, and the whole point of the CFPB is to get money back to consumers who were screwed over by credit agencies, poor business practices, that sort of thing.
Elon is trying to position Twitter as an everything app. He just signed a deal with Visa that would allow it to be a payment processor, and as a payment processor was a
Oh,
Isn't
I
that
don't like that.
that's wild? So he is literally he said that from the start. His whole goal with Twitter is to literally make it an app where you go on, like they have the TikTok store.
Yeah.
He wants to do that combined with basically like Zelle and all that stuff all wrapped up into one.
about to be regulated by
Mm.
the CFPB.
Yeah.
Well, that agency has now been gutted. They've announced they're doing no more enforcement, no more rulemaking. Everything is on hold. And guess what? Now, those payment processors not going to be regulated by the CFPB. But that is far from all. Of course, Elon has taken aim at the USAID. They're effectively gutted at this point. Just so happens they were investigating Starlink, of course, another Elon project.
Another thing, USAID. So the importance of USAID, they do a lot of terrible stuff. Listen, I will be the first one to tell you a lot of the institutions that Trump is cutting have a lot of bad shit going on. It's our US government. There's a
Yeah.
lot of bad shit going on. But so USAID was started by Kennedy in the 60s, okay? The idea of it was to extend America's soft power. Are you familiar with the term soft power?
No.
So like hard power is the military. I am
Mhm.
asserting my power on you, right? Through military force. Soft power is the idea of China is doing this right now. You know, China has that Silk Road 2.0 initiative where they're building roads, bridges, infrastructure in Africa.
Yes.
So what happens if I go to a poor, underprivileged community in Africa and I say, I'm going to give you a well that, and I'm going to, give you, I'm going to give you the installations you need to, purify your water. What happens? Africa looks at China and says, they're helping us,
Yeah.
very obviously. So the USAID puts money out there in the world in order to extend our soft power. And basically, it's not altruistic. It's all done for the point of furthering America's interests, but without having to invade a country.
Their use in Ukraine. But that also is not all. The National Labor Relations Board, so they've gone out.
I'm sorry, there's so much to explain here. Another thing too, one of the reasons they're investigating, I don't know if this is the actual reason for the investigation, but this is something that happened during the war in Ukraine. So the Ukrainians had a plan where they were going to attack a military installation of the Russians. And then just at that time, Elon cut off access to Starlink.
Oh, wow. What
So,
a shocker.
by the way, this is literally the plot to the James Bond movie. I think it's The World Is Not Enough. It's the world's largest newspaper magnate. He controls all the information, and he's basically going to try to take over the world by misinforming people.
Regulate workers' ability to organize. They make decisions when there's a dispute between the companies and between the workers. Elon is a famous union buster, strike buster. They've gone after him for retaliating against workers. He sued them, claiming, without much standing, but claiming that the entire board is unconstitutional and trying to dismantle the whole thing. Well, now the National Labor Relations Board has been gutted, and they're not even defending themselves in that lawsuit that Elon Musk.
And you know what the NLRB is, right? It governs basically unions, the
Okay.
National Labor Relations Board.
Yes.
Musk's companies have brought against the National Labor Relations Board. The Federal Aviation Administration, also Elon has taken aim at. Well, lo and behold, they have investigated him over illegal rocket launches over at SpaceX. Department of Labor was investigating him for allegations of workplace discrimination, including some
Illegal rocket launches. How hard is it to fill out a form
I
to
know.
say, hey, I'm going to launch this rocket? Like, is that cool?
I
How
know.
hard is it to have an intern fill out a form?
When you're in the rocket business too, the problem is that, but you're perfectly illustrating the problem with people like Elon Musk. It's not that it's difficult for them, it's that they're purposefully obstinate because they don't think that you should have a say in what they do.
Right. Sorry, I can't remember. Is Elon the one that um didn't create PayPal, but like bought it and then
He
sold it?
was he was one of the PayPal mafia.
Okay.
PayPal made multiple billionaires. It made Elon, Peter Thiel. There's a bunch of them, and now they're all heavily involved in right wing politics. It basically made a group of 10 or so billionaires.
Is he still involved in PayPal and makes money from it?
No, no, they were sold
Oh,
a long time ago.
so he wasn't involved in the honey scandal.
No. Oh, just real quick, by the way, just to kind of give an overview before we continue of the idea for the show. I watch politics constantly. We have the same and or very similar politics in terms of belief. I keep up with the news a lot. She does too, but I'm pretty much an obsessive about it. So one of the ideas of this was us doing this is, keep her informed on, the most important things and also kind of a window into what am I trying to say here? Basically, you're going to be learning some things with the audience sometimes, if that makes sense.
Right, because I mean, I would like to think that I'm decently well
You
informed,
are.
but he listens to politics constantly.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm listening to the scandals that come out from multi-level marketing. That's my big niche right now.
Yeah.
And I'll go on and check like what the big headlines are, but I don't know about all the niche things that are going on. I don't know about the stuff that you have to sit and watch or you'll miss it.
Mm.
So Cyan has that sort of side for both of us, and I'll just randomly he'll come into the room and be like, "Oh, did you hear this?" And I'm like, "Nope."
Yeah.
And then he'll tell me what the thing is that I hadn't heard yet. So we figured that is going to be the premise of the show because I know the big headlines like most people, but I don't know the smaller stuff that's going on, the more insidious stuff.
It's a perfect way to explain an ideology to you while explaining to the audience, but I have a person to talk to.
really horrific allegations, use of the N word in the workplace, nooses were somehow involved. Well, lo and behold, the specific department called the Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs that was looking into these allegations, well, Trump signed an executive order completely dismantling the whole thing, so guess he's off the hook for that as well. But that's not all. He also looks set to be able to increase the amount that he profits off of taxpayer dollars. He's already gotten some $15 billion into his companies over the years from the federal government, courtesy of you and me, the American taxpayer. Well, he's going to be able to increase that, astronomically. So he's already gotten installed as Air Force Secretary. This guy who had previously greased the skids and effectively rigged the contract process so that SpaceX could get these incredibly lucrative federal government contracts. So there's a lot going on here, but the bottom line is this: Elon Musk is the richest person on the planet. He already has extraordinary power. He is claiming and consolidating even more power. And his goal is not efficiency. It's not some noble small government, small c conservative type of enterprise. He wants to strip the government down so that it cannot compete with him and his power. So it cannot stand in the way of him doing whatever he wants to do. We know from the way he's run his companies that he doesn't care about the law. He will just operate the way he wants to. And the only entity that could really push back was previously the federal government of the United States of America. Elon Musk is hell-bent on making sure that his power will be absolute.
Yeah. So obviously that's terrifying.
Yeah.
But the idea is a system called techno feudalism. Are you familiar with this?
I mean, I can deduce what it means from the name.
Yeah, basically, it's a fiefdom of these tech billionaires all around the country, with all of us essentially enslaved to them. Programming, whatever. Why do you think there was that? Remember all that push of learn how to program?
Yeah.
Yeah, why? Because that's what they want us to do. They want us programming, they want us doing their menial tasks for basically no money, and they have their own little kingdoms, like you'd have your little Twitter kingdom essentially, where, you know, Elon Musk would rule with an iron fist. You have to work for him because there's only a handful of companies. It's literally like Cyberpunk or one of those games where
Alien.
or Alien, yeah, where you work for, what, you're gonna not work for Whale and Utani? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You have to go, well, yeah. That's basically the idea. They want to have their own little kingdoms where they control everything. And that's what we are headed to. And that's why Doge, I listen, if Doge actual point of Doge was to find corruption, fraud, and mismanagement, totally fine. But they are literally the ones that are doing the corruption, doing the fraud, and mismanaging. And they're doing it on purpose. That's the part that's so insidious. I go on Fox News all the time to watch people's comments, and everyone's like, "You're a true American, Elon. Thank you for finding this corruption." And also, they're literally making the corruption up, which we will get into. I have a clip. Trump, the president of the United States, let Elon Musk do a press conference in the Oval Office.
Is that when his kid was there? I saw some
Yeah,
memes
wiping
from
boogers on.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aeon Flux or whatever the hell his name is.
Uh,
But
I saw a couple memes
yeah,
from
but
that.
basically, I mean, I don't know how else to put it. You're all getting cucked. Like the entire right wing is sitting in the cuck chair, and Elon is just railing your business wives essentially in front of you. That's basically where we are.
Yeah, I think honestly with the graphic that she has up behind her, for me personally, one of the things that upsets me the most is seeing them try to take down OSHA.
Yeah.
We've both worked in factory settings and warehouse settings.
Yeah.
I have seen OSHA at work save people's lives.
Oh yeah.
The machinery that I worked around was incredibly dangerous, and if it weren't for people before me getting hurt, then it wouldn't have had the protective plexiglass around it
Yeah.
that probably saved all of my fingers so that I can be a pretty okay Call of Duty player to this day.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just and like my mom worked in a factory for 30 years,
Yeah.
and you can't tell me that OSHA didn't save her life on more than one occasion.
Why do people want to get rid of regulations? Because it saves them money. That's the only reason. Regulations tend to mean that you have to invest more money. But here's the thing, I don't give a shit about the business person. I really don't.
No,
I don't care. I know we need businesses. I know we need jobs. I really truly think that it should be as hard as them as possible because they're the ones at the top getting all the money. Until that changes, make it as hard on them as possible. If you want to operate, you have to, because no one wants to die for their job. That's fucking insane. I know these people that are like, I'm going to show up to work no matter what. I work on an oil rig. I don't care if I lose a leg. Why? You cuck.
you don't get paid enough to lose a leg for an oil rig.